Good evening and welcome to the Village Board of Trustees meeting. Today is Monday, April 5th. It is now 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please let us remain standing as we think about one of our fellow first responders who was tragically killed in the Evergreen Assisted Living Facility, firefighter Jared Lloyd. May he rest in peace, and thank you for your dedication and commitment to our community. Thank you. You may have a seat. Next workshop meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 26th at 7 p.m. A
Mayor, you
public
may wish
hearing
to-
to consider the 2021-20.
Mayor, you may wish to take a roll call.
Oh, sorry. That happens every Monday. All right, I'd like to take a roll call vote. I'm sorry. Trustee Alpert,
Present.
Trustee Corrigan,
Present.
Trustee Barone,
Present.
and Trustee Sauberman.
Present.
Thank you, Mr. Genito. As I was saying, the workshop is scheduled for Monday, April 26th. A public hearing to consider the 2021-2022 tentative budget and public hearing to consider overriding the tax cap is scheduled for Monday, April 12th at 7:15. And a regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. This time I would like to bring up Chief Loughlin from the Suffern Police Department. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. I don't have much to update the board on this month, so my update will be fairly brief. During the month of March, the police department responded to 889 calls for service. Our police station renovation projects are moving along well. The DPW has completed a large portion of the painting and our flooring installations have begun. We're also in the process of finalizing our furniture quotes, which is the last major portion of the project. I have a few agenda items for the board's consideration tonight. At this time, I'd like to call Police Officer David Figueroa up. It's with great pleasure that I request that the village board appoint Police Officer David Figueroa to the position of Police Sergeant effective April 5th, 2020. This promotion will fill a currently budgeted vacancy. Officer Figueroa is a resident of the village of Suffern and joined the Suffern Police Department in December of 2014 after serving with the Amtrak Police Department. Officer Figueroa has served in the capacity as a patrol officer, dare officer, field training officer, and is currently an evidence custodian with the department.
So upon that nomination, I have the resolution promoting David Figueroa to the rank of sergeant, whereas on or about April 5th, the position of sergeant was vacated in the village's police department, and whereas that David Figueroa is hereby promoted to the rank of provisional sergeant effective April 5th and shall be in accordance with the existing collective bargaining agreement with the Suffern Police Benevolent Association. Do I have a motion?
Trustee Sauberman moves such.
Trustee Sauberman. Do I have a
Trustee
second?
Barone.
Trustee Barone. Any further discussion? I would like to say congratulations to Officer Sergeant Figueroa on your promotion. Thank you for your dedication to the village of Suffern and your ongoing service to our police department. It's been a great pleasure knowing you, and I wish you all of the best success as in the rank of sergeant. Congratulations.
Mayor, we have to take the vote first. We didn't take the vote.
We do. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
And Sergeant Paffenroth, I'm going to come up and finish the badge on him.
May I interrupt, Chief? You're not coming in so clearly on my computer. I don't know about the other people.
All right, Chief, you're gonna have
Can't
to
hear you
speak.
very, I can't hear very well either.
He's gonna speak louder.
And Ed, can you turn your camera around so we can actually see what's going on?
I had another camera running, but it's not working properly. Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
That's okay.
There they are.
There you go.
Wonderful. Much better. Now we
Yeah.
feel involved.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh,
That's very nice.
Congratulations.
Swear. Raise your right hand. I, David Figueroa,
I, David Figueroa,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Sergeant of the Suffern Police Department
the duties of Sergeant of the Suffern Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. New with this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
You're better.
much better.
Better. Okay, at this time, I would like to ask Sergeant James Genito to come up. At this time, I would like to nominate Sergeant James Genito for the promotion to the vacant lieutenant's position within the Suffern Police Department. Sergeant Genito is a lifelong resident and began his career with the Suffern Police Department in July of 2004, where he served as a patrol officer and dare officer until his promotion to the rank of sergeant in August of 2014. Sergeant Genito is well-liked and well-respected by members of our department, as well as the Suffern community. In addition to his duties as a police sergeant, he runs the Suffern Police Holiday Toy Drive along with Sergeant Kiernan, and is a volunteer dare hockey coach, CYO basketball coach, Little League coach, as well as serving on the Suffern Little League board. It is my honor and great pleasure to recommend him for promotion to the position of lieutenant within the Suffern Police Department.
The resolution promoting Police Sergeant James Genito Jr. to the position of Police Lieutenant. Whereas on or about October 5th, 2020, Lieutenant Andrew Loughlin was appointed to serve as Police Chief of the Village of Suffern Police Department provisionally, pending the permanent appointment of a police chief from a list of qualified eligible candidates as established by competitive civil service examination, position of the police chief in the Village of Suffern. Whereas the Village Board of Trustees, in their capacities as police commissioners, have determined to promote a member of the police department to the lieutenant's position that is now provisionally vacated. Whereas there exists a civil service list of qualified eligible candidates for the position of police lieutenant. Now, therefore, it is resolved that effective April 5th, 2020, the Board of Trustees hereby promotes and appoints Suffern Police Sergeant James Genito Jr. to fill the vacated position of police lieutenant on a contingent permanent basis pending the permanent appointment of former Lieutenant Loughlin as police chief. And be it further resolved that pending such contingency and beginning with throughout his contingent service as police lieutenant, Lieutenant Genito's base salary shall be increased 10% above the position of detective sergeant, and a lieutenant shall be provided with an unmarked vehicle fully equipped 24/7 for official use required by his duties. Be it further resolved that until such time this contingent appointment becomes fully permanent, Lieutenant Genito shall continue to enjoy all benefits and rights conferred to police officers under the current agreement between the Village of Suffern and the Suffern PBA. Once his appointment becomes fully permanent, all the terms and conditions of Lieutenant Genito's appointment will be only as those terms and conditions are negotiated and set forth in a separate employment agreement between the Village of Suffern and Lieutenant Genito. That was one of the longer resolutions I've read. Sorry. You want me to repeat it? Do I have a motion?
Motion
Motion,
for
trustee
trustee
Alpert.
Corrigan.
Steve Alpert.
Okay.
Trustee
Any
Sauberman,
further?
trustee Sauberman seconds. Motion.
I think you had two, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question, actually. I do have a question. With all due respect, I believe, and I could be mistaken here, but I believe that this promotion is due to the vacancy created by the untimely passing of Lieutenant Mallon, because Lieutenant Martinez was the officer that took the role of Andrew Loughlin, actually.
That would be
That is
yes.
correct.
So I just wanted to clarify that for any legal reason. I'm not sure, how that error crept into the into the resolution, but I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that.
Okay. So I'd like to say that as a lifelong resident to Sergeant Genito is a lifelong resident. Once again, your dedication and commitment to this village of Suffern is remarkable. Quite outstanding by the response and the recommendations that you have received. And it is an honor to have you serving as a police lieutenant here in the village of Suffern. I thank you for that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Genitino and Lieutenant Genitino's family come up.
I cannot believe how big the kids got. Oh my goodness.
I, James Genitino Jr.,
I, James Genitino Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Lieutenant of the Suffern Police Department
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Lieutenant of the Suffern Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations is right.
Can you see so?
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Board. My last agenda item is in regards to filling a vacant police officer position within the police department. At the last workshop meeting, Joseph Ingwe was nominated to fill this position by the Board of Trustees. He has since received clearance to be hired by the Rockland County Department of Personnel. At this time, I would like to recommend that the board appoints Joseph Ingwe to the position of full-time police officer.
I have the resolution appointing Joseph Ingwe to the police officer full-time. Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby appoints Joseph Ingwe, police officer full-time, as a resignation reinstatement effective April 5th, 2021, and his compensation and benefits shall be in accordance with the existing collective bargaining agreement with the Suffern PBA. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Alpert.
Second, trustee Alpert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. That's all I have unless there's any questions. Thank you.
I'd like to
Thank
take
you,
a
Steve.
10-minute, oh, sorry. I'd like to take a 10-minute recess. We will reconvene at, let me see what time it is. 7:30. Is that okay, board?
That's okay with me.
Okay, Miss Cathy Mills.
Evening, everybody.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello there. So a few things that we have coming up on May 1st, which is a Saturday. We have our annual Keep Rockland Beautiful event, and that will be at 9 to 12 on the 1st. Registration is required. I did hear from Keep Rockland Beautiful the other day. They are capping the event at 50. So if anyone is interested in participating, registration is required, and it's open to registration now. So if you're interested, go to keeprocklandbeautiful.org and look for the Suffern May 1st date to register. And then on the same day as that, we also have the Arbor Day ceremony, which we celebrate the day after Arbor Day. Usually we do that to combine the Keep Rockland Beautiful and Arbor Day. So that will be also on May 1st, and we're going to do some tree plantings at Yorkshire Park. And we're working with the tree committee on that to plant the trees. And we usually have Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or residents, whoever's in that area, doing the cleanup to participate in the tree planting. So we're looking forward to working on that. We have a few things going on at the center. We've got the vaccinations tomorrow between 11 and 1. This is the second round. And then we have another round next Friday, the 16th. So that's it for immediate right now. I think that's it. Any questions?
No, great job on the Easter egg hunt. I did see it, and it was, everybody had fun, of course.
Thank you, Joe. And I forgot that we talked about it at the workshop. So I would like to say thank you to everybody that volunteered for that, for helped with that, who attended. It really was a fabulous event. Nancy really took under control for recreation, and we thank her, Joe Hunt and all the guys, and Charles Sawicki. We thank DPW for pitching in and helping us with that. It was a tremendous day. So I was so happy. Again, I saw, like you saw, Joe, I saw pictures and I saw people being part of it. And I thought it was a great event. So thank you. Thank you for everybody for volunteering and helping us with that.
I went for the vaccination and it ran beautifully.
Thank you.
Work in a very beautiful place.
Thank you, Fred. We appreciate that. We really do. It was, we're so happy that we were able to help people at the center. So, and I'm glad you got your vaccinations. That's great.
Not just that, I got a free cookie bag and soda.
Nice.
Even better, right?
Worth it.
With the mention, just to mention, I mentioned at the end of the workshop meeting as well, but it's a good opportunity to mention it again. With the assistance of the entire board of trustees here in Suffern, we all signed on, including the mayor, we all signed on to a letter that helped convince the governor of New York to open up a mass vaccination site here in Rockland, which opened up on April 1st at Rockland Community College. And so it is possible to get vaccines there now for anyone who's eligible under the various rules for age and so forth.
That's
But
great.
just making sure the public is aware of that. That's something to be aware of, that we finally have a mass vaccine site here in Rockland.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Long overdue.
And I know Joe Corrigan ran around, trying to get the trustees to, get on board. So she gets some credit for that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. Long overdue on the mass vaccination site. So thank you to the board. Thank you to Joe. You guys did a great job on, authorizing and signing on to that onto that letter. And Cathy and the staff for the Easter egg hunt, great job. Some bit of normalcy for our residents and the kids in this hard time. So it was very good. Thank you. And I also have the authorization, the Arbor Day proclamation. So I have authorizing the mayor to sign the 2021 Arbor Day proclamation. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Second.
So I was trustee Alpert and trustee Corrigan.
We're all in favor tonight. We're all at the same time.
All right. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And
Thank
Mayor, I
you.
left that there for you. Did you see that on your, on the desk?
Yes, I'll put it on your desk. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy. Be well.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Mayor, Fire Chief Kaufer has joined us.
Oh, great. Okay. Chief Kaufer, are you on?
I'm here. Sorry for my tardiness.
You're out fighting a fire, really?
Yeah, we're over in Tolman. We had a small little fire. So just two things on the agenda for this evening. The first one is a motion to accept two new members over the age of 16. Frank Trombetti to the Suffern Hook and Ladder Company and Anthony Simon to the Volunteer Hose Company.
So we have a motion to accept a new member over 16, Frank Trombetti, Hook and Ladder, and Anthony Simon, Hose Company. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Second, trustee
Trustee
Corrigan.
Barone. Trustee Corrigan, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And the second item on the agenda is a resolution to accept the 2020 LoSAP final report.
So I have the resolution approving the Suffern Fire Department Service Award Program Report for 2020. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Second.
Trustee Barone. Second, trustee Alpert. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And that's all. I want to just thank everybody
No, thank you.
Welcome.
Our pleasure.
and have a good evening.
Stay safe, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Fred Rella,
Good evening, board.
grant up.
I have a few grant items which I just want to update you on. First of all is the Wayne Avenue Sidewalk Project, which is a community development block grant. We put the money out, then we get reimbursed for it. We've been awarded a total of $285,000. We recently received a reimbursement check of $85,500, which was our second reimbursement check. The first one was for a little over $15,000. So we're over $100,000 now in reimbursements that we received back from the county for the community development block grant. And I work with Mike Genito and his staff of Maria Duffy and Cathy Van Sickle in putting all the documents together. And they just made me aware today that we got another $61,000 plus that we can put in for. So we're compiling those documents and should have them in very shortly. So we'll be receiving our third reimbursement check. So that would be really nice. We have a backhoe grant that we were awarded of $125,000. All the paperwork is in on that. This grant is through DASNY, the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York. We're just waiting for the actual agreement to come to us now to sign it so we can go out and purchase the actual backhoe. However, the Division of Budgets of the State of New York has said, unless something is an imminent threat of public health or safety, they're not sending out any agreements, and that's due to the COVID situation. It could be lifted tomorrow. It could be 2-3 months from now. I just don't know when that's going to be. But everything is in place, and then we could purchase the backhoe. So that'd be really nice. Parking lot B, which is the parking lot right across from the post office. We have two grants totaling $170,000 for the repaving of parking lot B and then the striping of it. We have to have, that's a community development block grant. All community development block grants require that an environmental impact study be done on it. That study is done not at the cost of the grant or the cost of the municipality, but it's actually done by the county. And we're waiting for the county to complete that environmental study, and then we can move forward with the paving of parking lot B. Okay, so we're waiting. Hopefully we'll get that within the next 30 to 60 days. Last thing I want to talk about is Bruce Simon asked me, who is chairman of the Village of Suffern Community Foundation, which is an organization that gives back to the community and trying to make it better for the individuals and businesses within it. We have a few members here tonight who are on the board. We have Trustee Corrigan, Trustee Barone, Cathy Mills, and Bruce Simon. Bruce Simon, as I said earlier, is the chair. Every year for the past several years, we've been giving out what's called a Community Spirit Award to a graduating senior of the elementary schools, middle school, and of the high school. And basically what it says is that they are leaders in their little communities within the school, as far as setting high examples for being compassionate to their peers, teachers, and the general populace. So we give them this certificate and then a small monetary award as well. And as I said at the workshop, I also want to acknowledge Cathy Mills, who's been instrumental every year in helping to put together those certificates and then actually disseminating the awards themselves on the graduation days. So that's what I have tonight.
Wonderful
Right.
news. Thank you.
Yep,
Sounds good, Fred. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hey, I know that Mr. Bruce Simon will not be joining us this evening, but we do have a video presentation. Mr. Genito, are you able to roll the video for the Community Foundation?
Yes, Mayor, I'm about to do that. I'm going to ask all the board members to mute themselves. And hopefully we'll get this going. Just bear with me as I try to bring that up.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Thank you for allowing me to present for the Community Foundation tonight. First thing I want to talk about is the food drive that we just helped out at Sacred Heart Church. We put food on the tables of more than 40 local people. It's important work that we do. We will continue doing it for Sacred Heart and for any other organization that wants our help. Just contact Village Hall and we will get right back to you and get on that for you. I also want to thank the Girl Scouts from Troop 40297 who have always come out and helped us at these food drives. It's very important work that they do, and I think they should be acknowledged. Next up is Not Just Battery Saturday. That's right, the original drive-through event returns to Suffern Saturday, April 24th in the Suffern Village Hall parking lot from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You'll drive in off Washington Avenue, pull up, people will take the items out of your car, you'll be on your merry way. We're accepting batteries, medications, cell phones, paint, CFL and fluorescent light bulbs, TVs, small appliances, and computer parts. What we are not accepting is tires. Let's not do that again. Saturday, April 24th, 11 a to 2 p. in Suffern Village Hall parking lot. Cash donations will also be graciously accepted. Not Just Battery Saturday brought to you by the Village of Suffern Community Foundation, the Suffern Village Board, and our brothers in the Suffern CSEA unit, who we literally could not do this without. Please thank them when you see them. And 3, the marathon. We have finished 13 of our 26 weeks. The people in this area are amazing. They have walked, run, cycled, and any other exercise you can think of well over 7,000 miles. To put that in perspective, you could go from New York to San Francisco and back and still have about 2,000 miles left that you hadn't used up. We're only halfway through. I'm thrilled to see where this is going to end. We are still accepting people to join the marathon since it's cumulative, so please go to suffernmarathon.com and sign up. It's free to join. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, they're $20. Just tell us what size and we'll put the order in for you. Again, thank you so much. Hope everyone has a great night.
And there we go, Mayor.
That was wonderful.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you to the foundation for all you do. Look forward to Battery Saturday and all the upcoming events. Great job. Thank you. Keep up the great work. Mr. Genito.
Yes, Mayor, we are looking to have the public hearing on the budget. That's coming up on April 12th, next Monday at 7 PM. And that's also going to have a public hearing to override the tax cap. As you know about the tax cap, we typically will pass a resolution to adopt a local law to override the tax cap, but we don't actually put it into place until just prior to adopting the budget. We generally do this as a preemptive purpose, even if we are going to be within the tax cap, because we wait until we see that our calculation was correct and nothing came in at the 11th hour from the state to change that calculation. If we were to override the tax cap and not have a resolution in place, that would force us to withhold certain money and deduct it from next year's budgetary appropriations. So in any event, that's what's going to happen on the 12th. Then we need a resolution to hold some additional budget meetings. These meetings would be open to the public, of course. The first one is a meeting on the 19th of April at 7 PM. It's a public hearing and the adoption of the water and sewer rates. That's for 2021 to 2022. The reason why we, by the way, adopt those rates at the mid-meeting in April is that gives us plenty of time to then prepare the bills that go out in May and so forth, and have the proper notices in place, even though those May bills aren't affected by that particular rate. April 23rd, we'll have a meeting to consider the final village board adjustments to the budget. And this gives us ample time because our next meeting would be to adopt the budget on April 30th. As you know, we must adopt the budget on or before May 1st. April 30th is a Friday. And if we had all of the adjustments in by the board, by the 23rd, we would then be able to give this time to run those through our system, check with our assessor for additional calculations, and produce a budget document for your adoption on April 30th. So that's basically the meetings that are coming up for the budget.
Mike,
And,
what time are you expecting these Friday meetings to start at?
Well, the meeting on the 23rd is going to start on 7 PM. I
And
think that's the only one.
30th at 7 PM as well?
Yes.
All at 7.
I do not find that appropriate. Friday night at 7 o'clock, that is a religious time for people of the Jewish faith. Can we do this on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock?
It's up to the board.
19th.
I would prefer
23rd.
Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
That would be the
So the
18th.
22nd,
22nd.
The 22nd and the 29th.
I'm sorry, 22nd.
22nd and the 29th.
That's fine for me.
22nd
Fred, you're muted. Oh.
and the
maybe he
20th.
needs to be.
For the 22nd and the 29th. So the 19th, the 22nd, and the 29th.
The 22nd is okay with me. I just checked my calendar.
And the 29th, Fred?
The 29th, I'm also okay. Yeah.
All right,
Mike-
thank you.
Michael, that gives you
Okay,
enough
so the
time
three-
with everything you have to get done if we cut it short by a day?
Oh, certainly. The time that I need is the lead time between the final adjustments that are agreed to by the board and
Okay.
then when we have that final vote on a week later.
Okay.
I should also mention too that no adjustment, by the way, becomes final until the board actually has an adopted resolution with the majority of the board agreeing to it. So that there may be a lot of discussion and a lot of verbal agreement on a change to the budget, the tentative budget, but it actually doesn't become effective until you actually adopt an amendment. So that's what we would have on the 29th. We would have an amendment that would state all of those changes. We've done this in the past, as you know. And then we have the adopted budget document that gives you the ability to adopt exactly what everybody agreed to.
Week of the 29th, we also have our workshop on the 26th, just to make sure, it's 2 meetings that week, just in case that's an issue. Just putting that out there.
It's budget season.
Yep, I'm just putting it out there.
Okay, so I have the authorizing budget meetings to be held to consider the 2021, 2022 tentative budget. April 19th, April 22nd, and April 29th, all starting at 7 p.m. So I have a motion.
Motion, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan. Do I have a second?
Second, trustee Alpert.
Trustee Alpert. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Mayor, I should note that I believe that you have to adopt a resolution, a separate one, to have the public hearing for the adoption of the water and sewer rates on the 19th.
Separate resolution? Okay,
Yes,
so I'll
and-
have a resolution. Go ahead.
I should say 2 things, Mayor. To have a public hearing on the budget for the override of the tax cap on the 12th, and then a resolution authorizing the public hearing for adoption of water and sewer rates on the 19th.
Mike, we need 2 separate.
So the 12th is, can you repeat the 12th?
Yeah, the 12th is a adoption of a resolution for a public hearing to be held on the override of the tax cap.
I so move such a resolution. Such a
Okay,
motion.
so that's the first resolution to the resolution to hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. on April 12th to override the tax cap.
Correct.
Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Sauberman.
Trustee Sauberman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, the next date was the 19th. 4/19.
A resolution to authorize a public hearing and adoption of the water and sewer rates for 2021, 2022.
Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Second, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good on all the meetings. It's the 12th, the 19th, the 22nd, and the 29th.
We'll be seeing a lot of each other.
Okay.
in April.
For sure.
Mr.
Okay, thank
Genito, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, I'd like to open it up to public participation. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak, please raise your hand.
We have a hand raised by Joe Hunt, president of the CSEA local union. I'm going to ask Joe to speak.
Before Joe goes, I just want to suggest, can you remind the public that might not be familiar how to hit the raise your hand button, Mike? I just want to make sure that.
Oh,
everyone-
yes. If you're using one of the apps, you'll see that you can simply raise your hand by clicking on the appropriate icon, whether that's on a computer or a cell phone. And if you're using a phone, then use *9 and that'll show a raised hand. So,
Thank you.
yes, very good. So Mr. Hunt, I believe you can unmute yourself.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Under these COVID times, I want to thank the mayor and the board members and all the fire department, police department, CSEA sisters, brothers, that all helped out contribute to one of our family members, Michael Augustin's loss here in Suffern. We do have a GoFundMe page that is astronomically growing to help him and his family. If you guys don't know, his father's recovering from a stroke, and anything that we can do to pass this on and make this better for the family to move him back here to Suffern. I want to give a big thanks to the Mayor Markunas for standing beside me and assisting me with the help of powers to be. Assemblyman Lawler and Speck came. I also want to thank Joe Corrigan and Chuck Barone for showing up and giving support to the CSEA members. In a good note, this is what teamwork is all about, and family. We showed the community that we still work together, and when in need, we overcome all indifferences and make the difference. So I want to thank everybody on a good note. On a bad note, as a CSEA president, we do have some issues with the sewer plant and membership. In my contract, which I don't know if everybody has a copy of it, it does say no contracting of union positions. We've been working hard with members in that sewer plant to classify themselves and get the training needed to overcome some indifferences and monies. So with that said, we have a 3A operator that's certified, and we do have money in the budget for 2 other positions. So I don't understand why the board and the mayor are holding him back from attaining a position. Again, we do have money left over from last year's budget that can incorporate this change. At the same time, we have issues in other departments. Upstairs in the building, we have a little bit of an indifference in the court clerk with the 2 ladies there. I would like to get a couple of board members and the mayor and sit down to re-talk all that I'm saying here. This is way out of hand right now. And again, I don't want to put any improper practice or grievance against the village, because at this time we're trying to save money and work with the village. So please hear me and please get back to me. Thank you for your time. And again, thank you for all your support. Have a good evening.
You as well, Joe. Thank you for everything you did.
Thanks, Joe.
And also, Chris Hatfield was once again an amazing force on that as well. You and Chris make a fantastic team. Is he gone?
Okay.
He's gone.
No, thanks, Joe.
Okay, I should also mention we have a 4-hour time limit. Joe was well within that. So next we have somebody identified as iPad. If you would identify your name and address, please. You should be able to speak now.
Okay, this is Joe Savarese, 63 Boulevard. The house fire that transpired on Wednesday morning. I'd like to say great job by our fire department. Just want to give a shout out. Excellent response. They were there twice. They did an excellent job. And on another note, I'm sure we're taking with these last fire and previous fires that this is being looked at very seriously. And if the trustees would like to make any comments, I know this is an ongoing investigation, but it would be nice to hear some input by our trustees if they have any thoughts on this, of these events occurring in the village. So I'll leave it at that. Is that it? Did you
Okay,
guys hear me?
thank you, Mr. Yes, we did hear you. Thank you for your comment.
Yes. Okay.
As you did state that we will continue with this ongoing investigation, and it was a tragic event. I can assure you that all of the resources are being utilized in this investigation.
Okay.
Okay.
And, can we hear from our trustees on this? Or would they like to just make some comments to hear a different voice?
We would comment if we don't know enough information. That's why we're not commenting.
Is,
Okay.
you know, turning over
Well,
every stone to.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Take care of it.
Charles, you were talking at the same time as Fred. Charles, can you repeat what you said?
That in discussion with the chief and the mayor, that all resources are being used to find out what the cause is and to put an end to it.
I guess we're not really understanding what you're needing from us.
Excuse me, trustees, we do have a 4-minute time limit to speaking.
Okay.
So I mean, it's fine if you want to continue the discussion, but you may wish to, if you extend time to one speaker, extend it to all.
Okay, I think I'm good.
We're good. We covered it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Investigation
thank you,
comes
Mr. Savarese.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Curley.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, thank you. I guess I want to, I guess I'll go to that gentleman's issue right there. I think it's got to be straightforward and put to all residents, to all people in all communities around here, that I'm a retired firefighter myself, and it's obvious to me that we have an arsonist in this village, and that's really the issue here. And the police department are using all their resources to do what they can, but I don't think it's just about a police department. I think it's about a community and everyone getting to know, so neighbor can watch out for neighbor, people can watch out for people. That's to that gentleman's, Mr. Savarese's issue there. And I think I believe the police department and the fire department are the best out there and doing the best job they can. And I think in the end they will find, and I'll make the statement, there's an arsonist out there. But now I want to go back to a different issue here. I see under resolution, it's a referral resolution. It has to do with zoning and floating zones. And I just want to point out to this village that you voted to have for a comprehensive plan to send out for an RFP, meaning we're going to spend money to get a planner to come in here and tell us what the best thing to do with this village is, what the best thing to do with our downtown is, our downtown areas. So here we're going to spend taxpayers' money for that. Now, while you have that, now I'm for building and I'm for construction downtown. I'm not against it. I just believe in responsible planning and responsible building. I haven't heard any conversations about floating zones. I heard a conversation about a certain property, but not about floating zones. You have a resolution in front of you that's saying to you, let's look at floating zones for the central and general business areas. That is something that you should put in your comprehensive plan and wait for that. I don't think you understand the total impact of what this could bring. This reminds me of the Chris St. Lawrence form of zoning and planning. It's reckless planning, folks. Reckless. Now, I'm not making a call on any of the projects per se. I'm making a call on the direction of where the village of Suffern needs to go. So I think you have to look at that. Now, as I look at the resolution itself, it's incorrect, this resolution, all right? The law states under 266-67 that the planning board has 60 days, and all those different boards has 60 days. You're giving them, if they got it tomorrow or tonight, you're giving them 21 days. You also have to send it to the county of Loughlin, and they have 30 days to go ahead and put this in this resolution. A resolution, and I will tell this plain out to you. I don't know if your lawyer knows it, or the mayor knows it, or any of you know it.
1 minute, Mr. Curley. I'm sorry, 1 minute.
Well, this is very important, Genito. Thank you. A resolution does not trump a law. So that planning board, zoning board, building departments, maybe the tree committee, everybody has 60 days from the day they get it. You're giving them 21 days for a float to look at a floating zone all over these different areas. You're incorrect. And also, you have to send it to Rockland County Planning, and they get 30 days. So why would you even put 21 days on a resolution? There's something doesn't smell right here, folks. Something doesn't smell right here. And I'm telling you right now, this reminds me of the Chris St. Lawrence days. And I'm asking you to look at the law. The lawyer can talk to you afterwards. Even the planner, John Lang, is on the phone right now. John Lang is listening to this. John Lang knows you're doing a comprehensive plan, but you're going to go ahead and do a floating zone in two areas. Look at it. It makes no sense. You might as well wait for your comprehensive plan. We're making a tragic mistake to this village. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, Mr. Curley? Mr. Genito?
I see no other hands raised, Mayor.
Okay. All right, thank you. This time I'll close public participation. This time I'd like to bring up Mr. Charles Sawicki, Department of Public Works.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, the first resolution authorizing the solicitation of bids for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project contract number 2 with the due date of May 20th, 2021 at 3 p.m.
The resolution authorizing the solicitation of bids for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project contract number 2. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Resolution authorizing a bid award to Coin Chemical for zinc orthophosphate in the amount of $7.8567 per gallon.
As the resolution authorizing the acceptance of the lowest bid for zinc orthophosphate, do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Second,
Trustee Alpert.
Trustee Alpert, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes.
Okay, thank you. A resolution authorizing bid award to JCI Jones Chemical for 25% sodium hydroxide in the amount of 88 cents per gallon.
And the resolution authorizing the acceptance of the lowest bid for 25% sodium hydroxide. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
second, trustee Sauberman.
Trustee Sauberman, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed.
Okay, thank you. Resolution authorizing bid award to Slack Chemical Company for liquid sodium hypochloride.
And the resolution authorizing the, I'm sorry.
Yeah, solution in the amount of $90.90 or $902 per gallon. It's just that in this business, it's just that that's the way things are structured. Weird in terms of the dollar amounts, but it's $0.902 per gallon.
It sounds like we're talking about generic pharmaceuticals.
Authorizing the acceptance of the lowest bid for liquid sodium hypochlorite solution. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution authorizing Delaware Engineering Amendment Number 3 for construction phase services for contract number 1 in the amount of $300,000.
I have the authorizing amendment number 3 to Delaware Engineering Owner Engineering Agreement. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Okay, next item, resolution authorizing the issuance of an RFP for the risk mitigation inventory for village trees.
I have the resolution authorizing the issuance of an RFP for the risk mitigation inventory for village trees. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Barone.
Trustee Alpert, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, thank you. Resolution authorizing reimbursement to Mr. Aramis Morris for grade 3A application and test fees in the amount of $254.
I have the resolution authorizing reimbursement to Mr. Aramis Morris for the grade 3A wastewater treatment plant operator license application and test fees. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Alpert.
Trustee Barone, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Charles.
Okay. Mr. Magrino.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So the first item that we have is the resolution that came up during the public portion regarding a referral for the a proposed TOD floating zone. I've had discussions with some of the board members, but let me just kind of reset where we are. The owner of the property at 50 Lafayette Avenue LLC petitioned the board for a zone change to a transit development district or transit oriented development, and basically was asking the board to create a new zone. We have kind of the basis for doing that with when we did the TDD for the Sheldon, but what the applicant proposed was different. After looking at it, you know, it occurred to me and in discussions with others that this was really just, it was for this one property, but if we just do it or just changed it and developed what's called, you know, a TOD zone without looking a little further, it really wouldn't have made sense just for this one property. So myself, John Lang, Steve Conley have all been consulting on this, the mayor as well. And so we prepared a TOD floating zone, which if the properties meet a certain criteria, they could apply for a TOD designation, meaning a transit-oriented development designation for their property, and that would be the zoning of the property. I know this applicant is interested in it. Last week, an applicant, you know, came to the board just to discuss the possibility of doing something like that. So they'd also be interested in it. We were working on it. I had a few things going on personally that we kind of got past, thankfully, but, you know, so I wasn't able to finally send out a final draft until this past Saturday. But nevertheless, it is a proposed change to the code. You know, the nuts and bolts of it will be in the code, and you have that. There will also obviously be a change then to the bulk requirements, change to the uses that will be permitted. And again, these are all things I worked on with John Lang and Steve Conley, and I will ask John to comment on them in a moment. If the board is amenable, and whether it's tonight or another night, this was kind of, and I know that there was some discussion and maybe even some disagreement on whether or not to proceed with something like this. What this is procedurally is it's here. It's something for you to, you know, dig your teeth into, vote yes, no, you know, maybe, whatever it may be, but something, you know, from my perspective, that if it were to be voted yes, to proceed, that it's something that, you know, could be sustainable and work for the village, again, subject to review. what, Mr. Curley commented on the code, and he's correct. The matter gets referred to the planning board, and if they don't report back within 60 days, this board can act without having heard from the planning board. It's kind of like a stopgap in the event it goes to the planning board and they're never heard from, it doesn't kind of go into an abyss. You read the resolution, simply it states the village board requests the comments on or before April 26th from the planning board. If the planning board doesn't get the comments to the board by to this board by April 26th, this board can't act because it still has that time that Mr. Curley referred to. So this was more, we kind of slowed down the petition, the original petition. This was an effort to, since we've kind of taken a deep dive on this, this was an effort to, move it along if appropriate with the proper reviews. That's a policy decision for this board if it wishes to do it or not, and require them to do it by April 26th, or if you want to make it longer, you can make it longer. It was more to kind of have something there for the planning board to look at. And again, the planning board could come and say, you know what, we're looking at this, we need more time, and not report, or report that back to the board, and then this board went back. So, and with respect to county planning, at this stage, it's just a draft. The matter goes to the planning board. It goes to, we drafted it, but it goes to the village attorney. It goes to the building inspector, and Mr. Lang for their comments. It then comes back to this board. When it comes back to this board, the question is for the board: is it appropriate? Okay, well, now we'll set a public hearing. Now we'll send it out for review and comment by the other agencies. And again, that's in the code, and including county planning. So I know I'm talking a lot, so I'll try to move it along. In terms of the substance of it, the TOD, CB, and GB is proposed, as I said, would be a floating zone if it meets certain criteria. I won't go through everything, but it would be what's permitted in eligible sites would be studio, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units with certain sizes. Uses and locations that are consistent with the transit-oriented nature of the village, either near train or bus. I know, and one of the issues would be mixed use. So it would provide that you could have, business down below and residential up top. And then there's a number of issues which I'll defer to John Lang about. John, are you on?
Mr. Lang, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Oh, I see, John. I'm going to unmute John. And if you just want to get into some of the planning issues, John, in terms of maybe what you were thinking in terms of, restrictions with respect to size. What I will say, generally speaking, the restrictions are consistent with the TDD that is existing at the Sheldon. But obviously, generally speaking, the properties will be, most of the properties that would be eligible, at least in their current state, would be much smaller projects just based on the size. But again, I want to stop talking because I got on for a while. So John, do you have anything you'd like to add in terms of commenting on it?
Sure. The intent here was to come up with more.
Are you on a?
John, can you talk a little louder? It's hard
Turn your camera on.
I can turn my camera on, sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The work that we've been doing is kind of what Rob and I refer to as a forms-based code. The more restrictive you put into the bulk regulations, the less things will conform. And if you're going to have to go through a number of iterations because nothing complies, it's better to make it a little bit more flexible. So we devised a sliding scale for the height of the buildings based upon the property width. And we looked at all the different opportunities that could happen that you might want to consider. So if somebody has a wall-to-wall opportunity between two buildings, how does that affect what you could do is if you had a vacant lot? So we're trying to create a very flexible standard, but leaving it up to the discretion of the boards to whether it makes sense to do the particulars of what they want to do. And for downtown, we really want to focus on commercial on the first floor, some residential above, so that we are creating a built-in user community for the commercial uses to try to benefit all of the businesses downtown. So it's not really a very restrictive, but it is in terms of the discretion that's proposed. The things that we would like to see are eateries with access for outside dining in the front and in the back. The ability to move the residential either forward or back, giving a different volume to the residential component over the commercial. We're looking for some really flexible and creative solutions as opposed to the hard bulk regulations. So if you look through what we've proposed, there's a lot of options, a lot of things that are available, subject to the review of the planning board and the village board. And I think that's the best way to approach it. Give the powers that be the ability to say, yes, this makes sense, or it doesn't make sense.
And thank you, John. And one item I just wanted to jump on, which I know was an issue, in terms of the parking, we went with what the applicant in the 50 Lafayette requested, which is 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit with at least 0.5 on site. For the commercial use, we wrote 1 spot per and left it. I think what John and I discussed was to maybe make that part of every application, because each commercial use will be different. There's a number of commercial uses downtown that already don't have any parking. So the focus might be more for the residential aspect. And again, just like any zone change, although we have the restrictions in there, each application would stand on its own. So if in one particular one the parking wasn't enough, so be it, and you wouldn't have to approve it. But again, I know that, and I had this discussion earlier with one of the board members, the 1.5 and half on site, again, that's something for discussion by the board, policy-wise, how it wants to go on it. So that's what the proposal is. Mayor, I turn it over to you in terms of what you wish to do next, if you want to hear from the board where we are on it.
Okay, so with that being said, thank you, Mr. Lang and Mr. Magrino. The board, would you like to weigh in before I present the resolution for the referral or the review, which I believe is only for the review from the planning board?
Right, and I'm sorry, last thing. In essence, this vote is to send it to the planning board to get their feel for this and comments, and almost be a part of the drafting, if you will. This is not the final version, certainly by any stretch.
With this TOD, this might be a question more for Mr. Lang. If this was to move forward in conjunction with the comprehensive plan or be approved before the comprehensive plan, would this TOD floating zone be able to be attached or applied into the new comprehensive plan?
Without a doubt. This has been something that the board has been pursuing, I think, since 2016. So it's not a new creation. The board has been taking a very measured step toward this, figuring out what really makes sense. And some of the things we've asked for are not in the general purview. We want creative designs. We want rooftop spaces. We want as many spaces to draw people downtown as possible, other than just being residences. So we want to support the commercial establishments. We want to establish more residence for people within walking distance in a safe and efficient way, and use the resources that the village has of parking available where they aren't available on site.
Right, so that's what I'm looking at, the growth and economic development overall in a responsible manner for the village of Suffern, for the businesses, and for our village to increase the revenue revenue stream into the village via tax ratables, water and sewer, and growth within our business district. And that's what the mission here is. This is what we're trying to attract. This also would apply, I believe, to the presentation that was put forth last week by Avon. The Avon project over at the Nail Enamel Building, they're similar. They're looking for a zone change and which would be great.
There's really, again, it's no competition with a comprehensive plan. They can review these actions.
Economic growth and development to stabilize our tax base.
Right, precisely.
I'm sorry, you were cut off.
Yeah, it's one of the characteristics of these meetings. We're trying to prepare ourselves for the future. We're taking an incremental step.
I think the mayor's trying to.
I'm sorry.
I think the mayor was trying to talk, but he's frozen.
I can hear John, but the mayor's frozen, right? Is that what's happening?
Unfreeze the mayor.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we hear you.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lang. I'm sorry.
No, I said we're always looking to the future and how we're doing this planning. And again, these are not things that have come up recently. We want to do it in a planned, programmatic fashion. And there's a lot of issues that the comprehensive plan can bring up that I don't think this would be in conflict with. Government doesn't stop when you do a comprehensive plan. It proceeds. And I think these are things that will all be in lockstep with the final recommendations of the plan.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they would like to address?
I had a question.
I do. Steve, go right ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. Excuse me. I was curious if you could elaborate, if someone can elaborate, what is the benefit of a TOD versus the standard zoning in the central business district? What does it provide for that, for instance, any applicants that would be looking to get this floating zone would be interested in, as opposed to the standard zoning that's currently applicable?
Under the current zoning, I believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, residential uses on the above the first floor are not permitted at all. So when you're building a business and you have a restaurant and you want people to access your restaurant, the easiest market is the ones who live on the second floor and above.
So I know that this has come up as an issue sometimes. There was I believe, an attorney that was representing some of the owners of buildings downtown that was looking to essentially legalize that living arrangement because there are some non-conforming pre-existing examples of that within the downtown district. Now, if we were to pass such a law, such a change in zoning, would a lot of those buildings be entitled to request a zone change essentially based on this floating zone for that purpose? And is that something we want or don't want? And I'm not saying I have even an opinion on that at the moment. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. But I just want to mention it because there was an attorney that spoke in front of the board about a year ago about exactly that, buildings that have pre-existing non-conforming use where there's a tenant above.
I think this is the perfect solution for them because it allows the board to go on a case-by-case basis as opposed to making a blanket change over the zone. And there are so many different situations. We have, I think, 20-foot lots to 100-foot lots downtown. One zone to cover those widths and those heights and those setbacks just doesn't make sense. And that's where the TOD with this flexibility designed in gives us a much wider variety of options for them to consider. And it becomes more of a negotiation process. Show me what you're going to be giving to the downtown. Are you going to have facilities on site for recreation, whether it's a gym or whether common meeting rooms or rooftop rooms or restaurant space out front? All the things that we really want in a downtown area. If you're not going to offer that, then it probably is not appropriate to offer them the opportunity for them. But the idea of TOD is it's basically walking. I want to be able to walk. Anything within the walking distance of the train should be applied, and the full CB and GB districts are all within walking distance.
And without getting into that petition in particular, the short answer is, the lawyerly answer, it depends. You know, that a project like that or a building like that would be eligible, I think John said that, would be eligible to apply, you know, again, provided it can meet certain criteria. And there may be certain ones, you know, as John's saying, that has no opportunity for parking. Just, you know, there's some buildings currently that no matter what they do, they're never going to be able to provide on-site parking. Now, the board could say, well, if you can't provide any on-site parking, we don't want it. Or it could look at a particular situation and say, well, you know, okay, you can do this, or you're, you know, based upon other circumstances, I can live without on-site parking, what, you know, whatever the case may be, but it would be on a case-by-case basis that they'd have to come, you know, to this board and get approval from this board, not, you know.
Would an applicant be able to essentially sue if they don't get the answer they want, saying, well, you granted it to that other property owner, why won't you grant it to me?
Yes.
So is that a Pandora's box that we don't necessarily want? You know, is there some way to write it in such a way that they're precluded from that? I don't think it's good to open up that opportunity for anyone.
There's criteria.
No matter how you write it, you know, everything, you know, is subject to having a lawsuit and a challenge. But again, as long as you have, and you do mention it, as long as you have the criteria, and it's, you know, it's really whether the decision is arbitrary and capricious. If you have, you know, articulable facts that you can say, you know what, in this scenario, there's no parking and we have a parking issue and we don't want to add, you know, 6 apartments that have no parking for the people who are going to live there, even if they were all studios.
So
you know?
wouldn't it be prudent to include in such an offering, if you will, something that almost nobody can achieve, so that on a case-by-case basis, you know, nobody can really sue, you know, if we don't approve them?
No, somebody can always sue you. You're never going to get past that. No matter, I mean, the best you can do.
Let's say
the best you can do is have as good a criteria as you can have. You know, look, there's lawsuits all the time on codes that have been in existence for 50 years. You know, and on codes that are just.
Well, I'm not so much worried about. I'm not so much worried about someone suing about the code itself. I'm more concerned with, you know, if something is basically where an applicant can apply to something and may or may not be approved, and then the next door neighbor applies for the same thing and gets approved, that often opens up a window, if you will, where someone says, well, you approved them, why didn't you approve me? And then it becomes a little bit of a, you know, a difficult situation. Whereas if you make it a little more difficult in the first place to get the approval, I think it's more, you know, onerous on the property owner to meet all the requirements. Otherwise, they don't have a leg to stand on, so to speak.
I think the language of the laws, the proposed law, is very clear. There's no guarantee of approval. This is a floating zone. It must be appropriately fixed to the ground for the particular property. Based upon the criteria we're looking for, it gives the applicant a wider variety of options to pursue. For instance, you know, in the old historic districts, we really don't want tear downs. But you can't prevent somebody from doing it. And if he does and he comes in with a better plan, is it a better thing to do? I don't know. This is a board decision, and I have ultimate faith in the board to make those decisions.
And one other thing I'll just comment on, Steve, to your point, this would be a legislative act. Each one would be a legislative act by the board. So, you know, there's no necessary, you know, a requirement that a board take a particular legislative act. Now, with that said, you know, to your point, yeah, if there's a pattern of giving it to certain applicants and not others, certainly that would maybe a basis, or, you know, similar to like a zoning board on a variance. Yes, there is precedent.
We never do in one meeting.
But generally speaking, you know, there are criteria, you know, each case is different and looked at differently. As long as you do that and again, can have a, legitimate basis for why you're doing something or not. If you do get sued, then you deal with it. But I don't mean to sound flip about, being sued. I'm just saying, in the years I've been doing this, you can, do everything correctly, or feel you do everything correctly. Somebody can still file a lawsuit, and then you have to defend it and deal with it. But I hear what you're saying. But one of the issues would be if you make it so, like, it's almost like taking a square peg in a round hole, or vice versa. The village is kind of unique, and each property is unique. So to kind of say a blanket, this applies to everything, we have that to a certain extent. There needs to be some flexibility, or you drive yourself crazy trying to draft this because no property would be eligible, or you draft it in such a manner that only 2 properties are eligible. Now everybody else says, well, wait a minute, how come only those 2 are eligible and not me? So, I think these are all considerations. I hear what you're saying. But you do the best you can in drafting it.
Okay, so I think this is a tremendous amount of information, and asking us to do something when we haven't had the opportunity to speak other than for 4 minutes or 5 minutes with John Lang. I think that we need to have the opportunity to do that. I think that we need to understand better how this might fall into the comprehensive plan, because I know a couple of us have made it quite clear that we're extremely interested in the comprehensive plan and what happens for the future of the village. And there's a lot of questions that I have to ask, and I haven't had enough time to put them all together. This is the first time that we're hearing from John, and I'd like to understand better.
Be happy to meet with you.
We've done it before, John.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to talk to you again.
I just want to add in something I didn't finish. I am in favor of having more people live in the downtown district. I think it would help out the businesses in the area, some of which are struggling, of course, right now because of COVID. But I think that that's a good thing. But I do agree, or a concern. I just want to make sure that whatever we do is sensible.
We try to approach it that way, and we'll try to address your concerns even more as we go forward.
So moving forward, do we want to use this referral resolution as a starting point to obtain additional feedback from the planning board at this time? There's no commitment, it's a referral. What does the board choose?
I would like very much for the planning board to see it and get their opinion, get their feedback. I like the flexibility that's built into this TOD. And I'm not worried about.
So
I was just going to say, I'm not worried about lawsuits. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that it's a referral. There's no commitment. We'll go on further discussion with Mr. Lang, further discussion with with the planning board, and get more feedback, as you said, have the questions answered that you need to be answered, and study it and get into it a little deeper. This is the beginning steps.
I'd like to get more information from John first.
Okay, so
I'm going to follow.
all right, we all agree that
I'm not ready to.
Okay.
I would like to not vote on this either.
Okay, I'll just present the resolution. I have the resolution for the referral. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Sauberman trustee makes such a motion.
Trustee Sauberman, do I have a second?
I'm willing to second it, so long as this is a beginning and not a binding anything, because I agree with Trustee Corrigan. I know almost nothing about this plan for this zone, and I would like to learn more, but I certainly value the input of the planning board. So if all this is a referral for the planning board to consider it, and not any sort of acknowledgement that we approve it, because we don't yet approve it, I want to make that clear in my second.
That's correct, Steve. That's all it is.
just before you vote on it, it could be any other village official. I included myself. I included the building department. If you want to send it to Charles Sawicki, if you want to send it to the zoning board, you can do that as well.
I feel it's putting the cart before the horse. I would like the comprehensive plan, which is about to happen. I'd like it to be completed, and then I'd like to see how this fits within that plan.
I think this would be a good starting point to incorporate into the comprehensive plan at the same time. You're right, it does need to be looked at, but for the starting point to be able to receive additional feedback from the different layers that we have here in the village, I think it's a win-win, even in coordination with the comprehensive plan. So we have a first,
So
we have a
move it
second.
So move it to next month so that we have time to speak with John and understand what we're moving forward.
We already have the first and the second.
Okay.
So I'll take a roll call then. Mr. Sauberman,
Yes.
Mr. Barone,
Oh,
Ms. Corrigan,
No.
Mr. Alpert,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The referral passes, and we'll move forward from here and utilize all of the information to build that strong comprehensive plan.
All right, well, I would still like the
Thanks.
opportunity to speak with John and understand what we just moved forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
John,
Absolutely.
has your number changed?
No, it's still my cell phone number.
It is? Okay. Mine's still the same as well.
Okay. The only thing that's changed is my address.
Very nice. I understand you're
Thank
working
you,
than we
Mr.
are.
Lang.
Good night, board. Nice to talk to you.
Good night.
Good night.
The only other item I have specifically is the agreement with the County of Rockland for the Hallett Place parking area for commuter parking. This is an agreement that's been in place for several years. County pays the village to provide parking there, and they reimburse the village, generally speaking, for if we have to stripe it or do any work there. So again, it's I think you have the agreement, but it's something that we've done many years in the past.
Yes. So I have the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a license agreement with the County of Rockland for park and ride passenger pickup and bus layover at Hallett Place. Do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, do I have a second?
Trustee Barone.
Second.
Trustee Barone,
Okay.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And do you have the designating of the FOIL appeals, Mr. Magrino?
Yeah, I think Mr. Glickel's on if you want to just jump on, Richard.
Sure.
Okay.
This, again, is just a logical conclusion to the board's prior amendment of the local law number 2, section 213.7, and through this resolution, the board is designating the village attorney to serve or act as the FOIL appeals officer. And basically, all you've done is now bring that section of the village code into conformance with state law.
Okay. So I have the resolution designating the FOIL appeals officer. Do we have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Trustee Alpert, second.
Trustee Alpert, do I have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Trustees, do we have any trustees?
Nothing tonight.
Nope, I'm good for now.
Okay, All right, thank you. The next I have the resolution accepting the resignation of Craig Long as village historian effective March 19th, 2021. Nunc pro tunc, do I have a motion?
Motion, trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I am sorry to
Next
see him go.
He's not.
He's not
I
going.
know. Wait for it,
staying.
wait for it.
Okay, let's see, hold
I
on.
had to give him a moment for a second, you know?
Say goodbye and welcome him back.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's always a good
Hopefully.
thing.
Okay, I have the resolution appointing Craig Long as village historian effective March 20th, 2021. And be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby appoints Craig Long as village historian effective March 20th, 2021. Nunc pro tunc, and be it further resolved, Craig Long will not be further participating in the New York State Retirement Program as a provision of this appointment. Do I have a
Trustee
motion?
Corrigan.
Motion,
Trustee
Alpert.
Corrigan, welcome back.
She was first.
All right. Trustee
All right.
Alpert, second.
Trustee Alpert on the second, and on the discussion. Welcome back, Mr.
Yay.
Mr. Long. Thank you for all your years of service to the village of Suffern.
Yes,
All in favor?
it kind of took the breath out a little bit when he said he was leaving, and then I read the next line and I'm like, oh, okay. Because, you know, he down in this area, we usually have a lot of questions for him, and he knows a lot about our houses, and, you know, he's a great have. I mean, he's just a wonderful person and just lovely to talk to. Yay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I don't have to ask that question. Thank you. Motion passes. Okay, we were just recently approached by a filming company, a production company to film
FBI.
FBI Most Wanted. So we're pursuing that. It looks like it may be over 2 days, and if it's over 2 days, we need board approval.
Yeah.
So once they get everything all lined up, we have a couple of meetings coming up. Maybe we can discuss it at one of the upcoming budget meetings, and hopefully it will be a good benefit for the village of Suffern.
Perhaps.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Ed, just out of curiosity, how many votes do you need for that? Is that a 3 or a 4?
For the
vote?
filming?
Yeah.
3.
Okay, good.
3. Okay.
Well,
filming,
just in case Charlie and they came to our houses, so just in case Charlie and I are involved in it, I don't think that we should vote on it.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay.
they may not pick us, so
Okay.
you don't know.
That's fine. I'll put a word in. Oh, out.
Thank you.
Just kidding. Okay, at this time,
Wait, what, Charlie?
I don't want an article in the New York Times about me pressuring a film company to film in my house.
I didn't mean it that way. That's why I was checking on the vote.
all right, this time I would like to make a motion to close this meeting, and to close the meeting in memory of Connie Hernowitz, who is a longtime Community Foundation member, who is no longer with us, but I would like for us to take a moment and remember her service to the village of Suffern and the Community Foundation.
Yes.
Motion to close in her honor.
Motion, Trustee Alpert.
Second.
Trustee Alpert.
Trustee Corrigan. She was a
Trustee
wonderful
Corrigan.
person.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You as
We'll
well.
see you soon.
See you soon.
Good night.
Ready?